I was in a ship in the bay, and I had a really good ship. Actually, one of the biggest ships in the bay.
Mm-hmm.
And everything seemed perfect from the outside world. And there was no waves. It's like, I felt like I should have been content with that. I had all this other stuff. You want love too. But I knew that the only way, just from life experiences, that I could get to the next level, because that's how I did it in business. Every 3-4 years of life, I reinvent myself. What I realized is that my next level of life lived on the other side of this horrific storm.
Welcome back, everyone, to the School of Greatness podcast. We've got my good friend, Dean Graziosi, in the house. My man.
Good to be here, man.
So excited. We just got back from Puerto Rico a couple days ago.
Trip. Such a good
incredible trip. We were on a trip together, 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Brendan Bouchard, our mutual friend, put together kind of the meeting of the minds, a mastermind of a lot of talented guys in our industry who are just making an impact, doing big things in their businesses. Different guys have $100 million plus a year businesses.
Yep.
Top marketers, authors, thought leaders in the space. He brought us back together in Puerto Rico with some female influencers as well.
Yeah, which is great.
So much fun. We were the tag team champions 6 months ago for this competition. Dean won everything because he was a master.
But we were a team, bro.
We were a team.
So we won.
I was encouraging
you. That's all
you.
that mattered. We won.
And I was hoping that we would have like a little decathlon in Puerto Rico.
I was hoping for that too.
There was no competition though, so we're still the champions, undefeated.
That's true.
Until next time.
Yeah, so all of you guys listening, you understand that.
It's the tag
undefeated.
teams. Now, Dean is a guy that I learned about years ago. 15 years ago when I saw your infomercials, probably late night when I was probably sleeping on my sister's couch watching. Being sad for myself, seeing your commercials about real estate back then.
Yeah.
And you've been known as the real estate king for 21 plus years now.
Yeah.
You've done how much in business and real estate, but also in your educational business?
Between real estate and my brands and my companies broke $1 billion.
$1 billion in sales, right? For everything you've done. It's
I didn't get to keep all billion. It would have been nice, but
right. Yeah, you spend a lot on marketing and that
course.
team and building everything.
Of course, and real estate, because real estate kind of saved my life. We all have our own story, but I was, I grew up without money and my parents went through some really tough times, and I just wanted a way to have control of my life.
Yeah.
It's like when your parents don't have money, they love me to death, but they couldn't come to games. They couldn't be nurturing. They were worried not to get evicted from the trailer park we lived in, right? So I just knew at a young age, like I wanted to get money out of the way. Like I just didn't want it to be that thing,
We were running in Puerto Rico in the morning 3 days ago, and you had said that. You said I wanted to get money out of the way. I wanted to not stress about money because it would solve all these other problems.
Right.
And it solved a lot of problems, but it doesn't solve everything, right?
No. And I think there's a balance. Like when people say money can't make you better, make you happy, I think that's not true. It can, because if you think about this, I believe like alcohol and money are the same. All it does is magnify who you are. We know you have people you grew up with. They're kind of obnoxious, sober. If they drank, they were just complete idiots, right? And then if there was somebody who was sad all the time, they'd drink, they'd cry, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with money. I think money gets to magnify who you are. I think in my life, and I'll talk back, I'll finish the loop on the question you asked me before, but I think back when money was no longer an issue, then I had to look internally and work on the things that I was hiding my whole life. I was hiding some things that happened when I was young. You and I talked about it when we were traveling. Like I hid the craziness that I dealt with my father. It was like a champagne bottle, and I just stuffed all the stuff in it, and like it was waiting to explode. And when money was out of the way and I didn't have to worry about paying the bills or paying the mortgage, I went deep internally, and then I found the things I really love to do. I get to coach Little League. I get to coach baseball. I get to have a nutritionist. I get to eat better. I get to obsess on personal growth. I go to counseling. I go to Masterminds like we did this weekend so I can grow as a human. When you're worried about money, you can't do those things. You're just trying to keep up. So
you're just trying to survive.
And I'm not trying to say, oh, snap your fingers, you can make money overnight. I'm just saying, don't make money the enemy, because if you have a problem and you can cut a check for that problem, you no longer have that problem. Right?
You have other problems.
But it takes away all of those, so at least now there's space in your life to focus on the stuff that really will allow us at the end of our life to go, thank God I fixed that.
Right.
You know?
Why do so many people make money the enemy?
You know, first of all, like I think about that all the time. I think as we grow up, a lot of the movies we watched as a kid, it's like the guy with the money on the hill was the villain, right?
Yeah.
And I was on a boat with Richard Branson. On the only reason it's not because I'm really cool. It's because I helped raise $1 million for his charity, and for Virgin Unite, he invited me down to his island, and he saw that I got up at 5. He got up at 5, so he said, "Hey, tomorrow when you get up, let's sail." He's like, "You know how to sail?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I had no idea." He's like, "Grab the F line." I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I don't know. Just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But one thing he said, and it helped me a lot with money, I said, "I feel like I should be giving back more." And he said,
You said that, or
I said that to him. And I said, should I donate more of my time? He said, well, the way I look at it is different. You were given a gift to know how to generate revenue. He said, and this is something that I'm paraphrasing, but this I'll remember it forever. And it really shifted my mindset on money. He said, you could go to a charity, or you go to a soup kitchen, and you could work there for 3 days, and that'd be wonderful. I know they need help. Or you could swing by there one day and drop off a check for 50 grand. The second one, that's what you were given that gift. Go make the 50. He goes, I was given a gift to know how to start and run companies. Now at this phase of my life, I'm giving most of it all away, but that's my gift. And it kind of made me realize is like, I took the brakes off. It's like, make as much as I want. I can give it all away. I can, we just got done feeding 5 million. We just passed 5 million meals provided through Feeding America. We got all kinds of charities. Like now I have this like no limits, like, cause money has allowed me to retire my parents. My money's allowed me to make it so my kids don't have to worry about their future, not raise entitled brats, but I don't have to worry about their future. I get to be in better shape. If my fiance needs something, my mom needs something, my dad needs something, I can cut a check for those problems. And I can help with charity. So for me, it's like there's no limit. I want to just keep impacting lives and making money.
How can people shift the perspective of money as this bad thing? What's the quickest way for them to, if they've been conditioned with a belief for decades that money is the evil, or the money doesn't solve your problems, or what's a perspective shift for people to understand like this really?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the things I think, because I've asked this question on stage to tens of thousands of people through the years, and then I ask them to raise their hand if it's this. And one that I never thought of was people feel in this like intuitively somehow that if they're making money, they're actually taking it away from someone else.
Wow.
And I don't know if any, like, and as I say that, so many people right now are going, wow, I feel that way. Like if I'm getting wealthy, I'm hurting someone else. Or if I'm getting wealthy, oh my God, there's so many people starving in different third world countries. And it's the fact of the matter is there's always the same amount of money in the world. Money is either flowing away from you or money's flowing towards you. And I just want to position myself in a place where money's flowing towards me, and then I have the ability to give it away. Because if you really think about this, when you make money, I would bet the majority of the world, not someone selfish, which is a rare thing, and I doubt someone really selfish would be listening to you, Lewis, is when you make money, what do? You end up hiring someone to do your lawn because you're making money. You could do that. You send out your dry cleaning. You go out to dinner more. You buy a bigger house. You buy more furniture. When you make money, you actually flourish the economy in your home, and then you flourish the economy around you. So, like, I just have this philosophy of, like, if I want to help the economy, if I want to help the environment, if I want to help the people I love, I make money and I get to help the economy, help the environment, help the people that need it. And I just change that belief because, again, if you make money to, sell drugs, or if you make money to promote gambling, like that's evil, that's bad. It's really just the byproduct. And in most cases, more money, the byproduct of more money is positive impact. Right? I mean, why is America, such a lead in finding cures, in finding technology? Because a lot of the companies and money flow here to solve those problems. But America's also the biggest contributor to charities around the world. I mean, look what Bill Gates did. So I just found a way, and I'd encourage everybody listening, find a way to just change that. Whatever story you're telling yourself, it's most likely a lie. It's a story that someone else gave you. We know all this. I'm not sharing anything you don't know, but just prove that it's wrong. Go find wealthy people who've made a massive impact. Because the last thing I'll say about money, I know we didn't plan on getting this, but I feel like we have a dysfunctional relationship with money. Like if you're the therapist, the therapist is sitting a third party over here, like where your candle is, and your money, and I'm the patient. It's like, I think we're saying, like if they're looking at us like a relationship, you're saying, money, I don't like you. I think you're evil. I think you're wrong. But simultaneously, I'm always stressed about money and I want more of it and I want to be able to help people.
And I feel like I never have enough.
And I never have enough, right? So it's like, it's the push and pull. It's like a dysfunctional relationship. And I think if you have any hesitation around money, it's time to fix that relationship.
Wow.
And then, I've had people write down 5 things they would do when they made more money and 5 problems that more money would solve. And most of the time people write, I'd make sure my mom was okay. I would take care of my health. And none of them on the list is buy the Lambo, the new watch, and be, selfish or or buy, have more carbon emission. Like nobody writes negativity. They write all impactful stuff for other people. And the last thing I'll say is this, and I've been using this analogy for myself for years, Lewis, is I look at when you first get on a plane, you know how they say if the oxygen mask drop, put yours on first and then help if you have a child with you, right? I look at that with money is when I put my oxygen mask on, when I'm secure, if you're listening right now, if you get confidence, if you have control of your life, if you have financial security, as soon as you feel stable, what happens every single time is you start putting oxygen masks on. When I was 26, I retired my mom. When I was 33, I retired my dad. Both of them worked their butts off to make nothing. I put oxygen masks on my mom and my dad. I helped my nephews go to college. I paid off debt for people that I cared about that it was crippling them with stress. I was able to help my stepdad when he needed surgery and they needed $40,000 immediately. So I just realized if I get secure and I obsess on making it, I don't have to hold it and hoard it and be this bad human. I could be a human that solves problems, puts oxygen masks on other people.
That's powerful. We were talking about, briefly we were talking about this, that it seems like there's a common denominator for every millionaire or successful person that we know. That they always had something dark happen or multiple dark things happen. And something that drives them, whether it's the greatest athletes in the world, the biggest, billionaires in the world, there was something that defined them early on, or some things that defined them. I'm curious, what were the 3 moments when you were a kid that really defined you to be this driven, hungry person, to originally just make sure that money wasn't an issue.
Yeah, really great question.
And want to continue to grow and reach $1 billion in sales in all your businesses and impact the world, because that doesn't happen just if you have a happy, normal life. Yeah. In my opinion.
And you know what? A really great question, Lewis. And here's what happens over time. Some of that goes away and you craft a new story.
Of course.
I did it because I wanted to change the world. I'd lie if I said that was true.
But there's usually some defining moments that usually happen when you're 5, 10, 7, whatever.
I know some of them. One is my mom did work. This sounds like an infomercial story. My mom worked 3 jobs. She was a hairstylist. She cleaned houses and then cleaned up after a painter, right? And she did those 3 jobs. And I asked her to this day, she made about $90 a week. Because she barely got out of high school. She had dyslexia that wasn't diagnosed. My mom's a beautiful woman inside now, unbelievably gorgeous, heart, soul, all of it. But she always felt dumb. Like she failed every grade. She quit school in the 11th grade because she was so embarrassed to go. And so she kept that stigma inside. And I remember being really young and watching her come home from work tired as hell at 7 o'clock. My parents split when I was 3. So we were living in a trailer park. My fiance's here. I took her to the trailer park that I was living in. And we'd come home latchkey kids when we were like 6 and 8. Because, my grandma would come a lot. My grandmother was amazing. So she was there a lot too. So we weren't neglected. You were just
with your mom. Dad, was your dad in the picture? Or no?
Every other weekend.
Okay, you saw him, but it wasn't.
Yeah. And just watching her, I can remember, Luce, I don't want to exaggerate, but I moved in with my dad when I was 12. I think I look back at that. I was like 7 or 8. And I remember saying, there's no way I'm letting this happen to my mom. I am doing this.
Wow.
My mom was my original, I'm taking care of her. There's no way I'm letting her work this hard. And it broke my heart. Like if I look back, my heart was broken all the time watching her come home, and she wouldn't complain, but she was just tired, So I remember thinking I'm getting wealthy to solve that problem. I mean, young.
At 7, 8, 9
yeah, 7, 8 years old. I mean, I had an Uncle Larry who was very, he went to college. His kids went to college. And I just didn't, from 9 years old, 10 years old, that's just the path I knew I wasn't going to college. I didn't think I was that smart. My family didn't have money. I'm like, I'm going. I just wanted money out of the way. Like, it wasn't like today's world has changed a little bit with social media, right? There was no such thing as the internet when I was that age, right? This is 40 something years ago, right? And I think money has gotten a bad rep a little bit more because I didn't have like guys,
Photos
flashing
of
the money.
everything.
Yeah, like driving the Lambo or in the private jet, or the look at me and the Rolexes,
champagne,
so the champagne pop in the nightclubs. I didn't even know that world existed, Louis. We didn't have money. I lived in a blue collar town. Nobody I knew had money, so it wasn't like I was saying I'm getting rich because I want to roll.
You just wanted to help your mom stop suffering.
I wanted my mom not suffer. And man, that's him. And the one thing I love telling people, and again, you may have heard this, but maybe today is the first time you actually hear it. It's okay to be in pain over something. Just don't ignore it. The biggest plight we all do to ourselves, I think, the biggest negativity we do to ourselves is we avoid the things that bother us. What I believe is let that pain sink in. If you get moving to start your own business, to scale the company you have, to finally quit the job that's draining you, if it's because of pain, use it. Like so many times when people listen to you and all the amazing people you've brought to the world, Louis, I love what you do, man. I mean it. I'm really proud to be your friend.
Thank you.
I love watching what you do. I love watching you grow. So many times we'll get into personal growth and we start thinking compelling future. I got to look ahead. I got to stay positive. I got to be the man. I got to be this woman that keeps it in control. And everything is good. I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm alive. Like sometimes that's just bullshit. Sometimes life sucks. And what I realized, what moved me as a kid had nothing to do with a compelling future. It had nothing to do with aspirational quotes. It had nothing to do with meditation. It had to do with I hated where the freak my life was. I hated watching my mom, and I was fixing that shit. And it bugged me every day. Like it bugged me. And
until you were like 16, 18.
Yeah. I was hustling. I 13, 14 years old, I used to go around the neighborhood and clean out people's garages. And then I'd take all that and I'd do a massive garage sale.
Wow. That's cool.
So 13, and my gram was the bomb. My gram would drive around, have her trunk up. I'd clean out the garages. It mostly was her friends, right? So I'd clean up like, oh, that's garbage, that's garbage, that's garbage. I'm like, you want to sell that? Like, oh, I can't give that away. Like, I'll sell it. I'll give you half. Like, okay, this is before eBay. It didn't exist. I was eBay at my gram's front yard, right? So she lived a little bit off the highway. I'd put a sign, yard sale. Man, I'd be out there on Saturdays learning how to sell. Because people had no mercy. I was a young kid doing it. They'd still come $5. I'll give you $2. It's like, make it $4, So I was negotiating that. And then at 16, I started a firewood company. I cut trees down, split it, stacked it in the back of a truck, and delivered it for $90 a cord.
Wow. Are you chopping it with the
chainsaw and a log splitter? And,
wow. Not manual. Like
No. It wasn't, what do they call it? Like,
just an axe.
Yeah, it wasn't the axe. I wasn't big enough for that.
Exactly.
So that one motivator was my mom, for sure.
So that was the first thing. What was the second thing? Moment or defining experience?
I didn't have money in school. It was like when I moved in with my dad, I was 12 years old. My dad, my dad was the youngest of 12, and was physically and sexually abused his whole childhood.
Yeah.
And back in those days, there was no therapy, talk therapy, nobody, not going to a counselor.
Just suck it up.
Have the ability to talk like you and I talked when we were jogging.
Yeah.
Men back then didn't talk. My dad's 83 now. He wouldn't go to his best bud. Oh my God. When I was 5 years old or 7, I was molested by my cousin. No one knew. In the old days, they'd be like, get away from,
Yeah.
So he didn't talk about it. So what he had this built up anger his whole life, and no one was able to take advantage of him. Like if the waiter was rude to him, he'd be fist fighting on the floor with the waiter, right? If we were driving in traffic one day and the flag guy during construction, he didn't wave to my dad. He was like looking at somebody else. My dad drove by and he goes, "Hey asshole, didn't you see me?" And my dad literally jumped out and just beat him.
Oh my gosh.
That was my dad. He was infuriated with everybody because he was this young kid who got abused and no one was there to protect him, and nobody was doing that now. So he lived with that, and he's in an amazing place right now, and I love him dearly. But when I was 12 or 11, it was so bad that I was afraid. I was just afraid. Like I was nervous for him, and I wanted to help him. So at 11, I left my mom and moved in with him. Mm-hmm. And when I moved in with him, this is, again, sounds like some infomercial story. I moved in the back. I literally had a house with no heat because he was remodeling and he ran out of money. And he was working on it. So we had to literally drag a bed into a bathroom at night and plug in a little electric heater. And that wasn't forever, but it was for months. And when I moved in with him, I wasn't poor me. I didn't know anything different. It was fine. And I learned a lot by living with my dad, and the good, the bad. I learned how to negotiate and all those things. But some days I'd go to school without lunch money. And there was a point, and this is okay too. I'm not anywhere near that now, but there was a point where when I saw people with money, or like when everybody turns 16, a lot of kids in school, their parents got them a new car.
Yeah.
And
You didn't have lunch money.
They had the new girl, the car, and then they'd get the cheerleader. And I'm the guy going home every day working with my dad. I worked every single day. I worked on cars. I worked on construction. And like, I remember being like, you know what? You can't hear me now, but you'll hear me someday.
Wow.
In my high school yearbook, literally my quote is like, I might be silent now, but someday, like, it'd be impossible not to hear me. Like, I got to get the quote. I just found my yearbook. Damn it, it's old. It's from 1986. Like, oh
Wow.
my God. But anyway, I want to read the quote, but it was something like, you don't hear me now, but someday you'll hear me roar.
Wow.
And I had this like internal chip. Like, I was really shy, polite to everybody. I called every one of my parents' friend Mr. or Mrs. I still do when I see them. Like, I wasn't like, yo, I got this. It was more like, oh, yes. And I probably looked really, like, not weak. I don't even know the word. Like, just really like an introvert and shy and like, but I was hungry with a chip on my shoulder on the inside. Like, you don't hear me now. You got the car. You got the girl. I got you. Like, and so that was probably another one too, is envy.
Sure.
And I say like, envy is toxic. It's completely toxic, but it's a
driver.
It's a good driver,
Yeah.
right? Like, just think, like, you can't putt with a driver, but it's okay to smash a ball off the tee, right?
Yeah.
So if you need envy to smash the ball off the tee, then use it. Like, again,
Usually get you going.
yeah, like, personal growth is my life. I mean, I'll tell that story in a little bit, but personal growth is my life, and self-education. Tony Robbins, who's now one of my best friends in the world, he changed my life when I was in my mid-20s when I ordered his course. Like, I was already financially successful.
Yep.
I already had a car business, a collision shop, an auto sales. I had 21 apartments.
At 26?
At 24.
24.
Yeah, 24. I had 21 apartments. I had two tow trucks. I had a tow truck company. I had Enterprise and Hertz rental car account. And
How'd you have the money to fund all these things?
Yeah, I'll tell you that in a minute. So I got to that. But up until that point, I was suffering to get there, like working night and day, stressing all night. Now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, man.
course.
When you're starting,
Yeah.
when you were on your sister's couch and you're thinking of going, all of a sudden you get
don't
going.
stop.
You don't stop, and then you're up at 2:00 in the morning solving problems, and you think that's the way you do. I got a competitive edge because I can stay up all night. I can stress more than
Then
anybody else. I
you
can
get
worry.
overweight. And
I get worried more than anybody else. So up until that point, I was on my way to already at a millionaire from where I was a kid. But I was doing it through suffering. And, I gave Tony Robbins money off an infomercial. It's the reason I went in the infomercial business.
Wow.
I gave him a check. He gave me information. Everybody told me I was nuts. Like, you bought something off of some huckster on TV, which people probably have said about me in the past. I bought it. I went through it. I thought I was going to listen to it over like a month. And I just obsessed over like 7 days. I digested every piece. And it was just so profound. No one I had ever talked to, and this is a true story, no one I had ever talked to in my entire life talked this way. Talked about people this way, about obstacles this way, about challenges this way, about your past.
Belief systems,
and belief system and limiting beliefs. And your past is designed for you to make you strong. And you know what? I just believed him. Like, I didn't question anything because I saw my dad worked hard, but he wasn't rich, and he suffered every day. And if I take on my dad's thoughts, I get to work hard and suffer. If I listen to this guy, it just seemed like a different path. And then he introduced me to Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and John Wooden and all these other people. And all of a sudden, life, self-education exploded. But let me go back to your original question. 1 was my mom. 2 was envy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the third thing was probably and completely wanting control of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I said that, and there's probably another one I'm hoping something else comes to me, but I know for a fact what drove me more than anything was I hated not being in control. And I love my parents, but I just felt like they made bad decision after bad decision. I didn't want to listen to them on where I lived. I got my own apartment when I was in 12th grade. Like, I didn't like their decisions, and I figured if I got money, no one can tell me how to live. No one can tell me what to do, how to talk. And the truth
do
is, I
whatever you
still
need,
feel
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want anybody to tell me when I can go pick
No.
up my kids from school or take them on vacation. I coach Little League. I coach softball today. I scheduled this with you at 1. I'm going to jump on a plane because at 6:30 is my son's game, and at 7:45 is my daughter's softball game.
Yeah.
I'm not missing either one of them, and there's nothing or no one that could tell me I'm not going
Yeah.
to be there, right? That's just an exaggeration of what my life is. But there was a point where money will allow me to be in control of my decisions. And I still believe that.
Yeah.
I still believe that.
And I know that you had you told me stories about being like picked on and bullied and, because you were a smaller kid. And so people would try to pick on you or, pick fights with you, things like that. I know you dealt with some sexual trauma as well when you were younger. And I'm assuming all those other factors made you want to have control as well. Of like, I don't have control of what people are saying to me or how they're treating me or they're taking advantage of me and physically or sexually or emotionally.
Yep.
And wanting that control was probably it's a driving factor too.
Now that we talk about it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Between parents having to be in control and those types of things, it's like, again, like, I don't know it would be healthy to have the emotions I had that got me started, but whatever emotions it takes to move, use them. Listen,
Just get started. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, again, I don't want to repeat stuff, but it's like going to the gym. You don't go to the gym over the weekend and you're in great shape for the rest of your life. You got to work out every day. Personal growth is hearing it and implementing it every day.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'll say, looking back in retrospect, being 50 this year, I've had the best love of my life. My fiance, I'm madly in love. My kids are in an incredible place at 10 and 12 years old. My company doubled in the last year since I've love in my life. I mean, and I'm blessed to say I'm really successful. We doubled in the last 12 months. But here's what I know. When I look at every phase of my life, what allowed me to go to the next level was facing the thing I was most afraid of.
So true.
And
so true.
Yeah, and I know from our conversations, like literally.
So what were you most afraid of 12 months prior? Or in the last 2 years that allowed you to double in that phase at least?
So
double in your relationship, by upgrading with what you wanted in partnership, business.
Yeah, so I'll be personal with you. I look back at what I was afraid of not working with my dad when I was a kid, because my dad was like, "You're going to be my partner in this collision shop," and I hated the way he ran a company. I hated that he yelled at customers. I hated, but like every time I'd go leave, he'd like go nuts on me. Like my dad was very physical, but not with me, but mentally like abusive. And at 12 years old, I was throwing up blood. I had a bleeding ulcer at 12 because I was so worried about my dad, right? So I was so afraid of leaving my dad. And then one day I literally told him, and I got in a fist fight with my dad. And it's not really a fist fight. He hit me and swung at me, and then he said, "F you," and he left. And I didn't see him for 2 years. And when he left is when I took the collision shop we were in, and I went and I solicited and I got Enterprise Rent-A-Car after knocking on the door. I got Hertz Rent-A-Car, started generating that money. Now I hired more people in my collision shop, more money to buy cars and put on the front. Started making more money with that. I went and bought my first piece of real estate, my 5th piece, my 10th piece. Then I started to buy raw land, subdivide it.
Wow.
Then I started selling raw land. Then I'm like, why don't I build the houses? I started a housing company, all from 20 to 27.
Wow.
I did all that without him as my partner.
Because he left,
my life changed forever.
Wow.
And then I was grateful for the whole circumstance, and I brought him back in as my partner, and I've been giving him money. I give my dad a check now for 20 years,
wow.
25 years. I've been giving my dad a check every single week, buy him his cars, buy him his houses, everything, right?
Wow.
But the only way that happened is I faced my biggest fear at the time.
Which was what?
Which was disappointing my dad and him going nuts on me, him not talking to me, listen, it's an age-old thing. My dad not accepting me, not proud of you, dad thinking you're a failure, right?
So him leaving, what did that do for you emotionally?
It made me want to show him he was wrong, right? I'd love to say I had this epiphany and I aligned my chakra. No, none of that.
You wanted to prove your dad wrong.
You.
I want to make more money than you could have ever made.
Did. Yeah, and then I asked him to be my partner.
Wow.
And that felt good. Just
being
honest, it felt good. He told
wrong.
me I was a dreamer. He told me I'd lose everything, and I proved him wrong.
Yeah.
And he came back really humble, and I told him
that's
I loved
nice.
him. Yeah.
It's funny because I always tell people that proving people wrong or others wrong is the second most powerful driver.
It is.
For me, my whole life was just, I'm going to prove everyone wrong about everything about me, about my athletic ability, about making money, about whatever, relationships. And at the end of the day, it feels really good in the middle, but it never feels fulfilling at the end.
No, it doesn't. But it can be that catalyst to take off.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And Luce, I would say I'm enjoying that. Like I love this just real conversation we're having. I know we're going a lot of directions, but one thing I want to say is so many people watching or listening right now think of themselves as an underdog, right? I didn't have family who supported me, don't have money, grew up in the wrong place, I live in the wrong country, wrong time, wrong president, wrong this, wrong that, right? And I'd love for you to think about that today and how you could turn being an underdog into an advantage. You see, most people, Lewis, because you're sitting here massively successful, impacting lives all over the world, there was a time when people said you can't, you're wrong, and you wanted to prove them wrong, but some of you is like, maybe I can't. And there was a point, and I don't know the time this happened, but there was a point where when people told me I couldn't, and family members, my own sister, my mom, my dad, my friends, everybody thinking I'm crazy, I'm a dreamer. I was like the dreamer of the bunch because I was always going after more. I didn't have the right college degree. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the pedigree. I lived in the wrong area. But there was this moment, and I'd love to say I had this epiphany or someone gave it to me, but there was this moment when I felt the power of you can't. So people told me I couldn't, and I kind of believe them. Even if you believe 5%, it knocks you off your confidence zone, right? We don't do anything without confidence. You weren't good at football without confidence. You didn't get the girl without confidence. You didn't start the business without money, without confidence. So I was lack of confidence, and one day it started fueling my confidence, and I started having this internal dialogue. When people told me I can't, I might look at them with the same face, but on the inside I'm like, screw you. You have no idea. You have no idea who you're saying. And so I've turned that into like the power of you can't. And there's times where people start telling me, and I can't control it. At least even at this age, we've been in places and go, oh, that market's oversaturated, and I start smiling. Like, because I've trained myself to enjoy when someone says I can't, right? Anyway, I digress on that, but think of being an underdog as an advantage, and it changes everything. So getting back to your question, two things. Like, that was a really big fear of mine, losing my dad, right? Sometimes the thing we have to face is the thing that's not so painful because we found a way to avoid it. We found a way to avoid the bad relationship, avoid the bad job, avoid a super negative, toxic person in your life, avoid that you're in a situation financially that's really painful, and you find a way to go, no, this is how I'm meant to be. No, it's bullshit. You found a story. Like I love The Untethered Soul with Michael Singer, right? When he talks about having a thorn in your arm. Like, it's painful to pull it out, so it's best to put something over, put a patch over it, then build a bigger apparatus, and always protect it. Don't hit it. When you walk through the woods, don't let the branches hit it. He said the only way through is freaking turn, grab it, and yank it out. It's going to hurt. But then once it's gone, and you know this, once you get through that pain, all of a sudden there's another level of life.
Yeah,
and
you start to heal.
And I want to share this on the most personal side of this. We're sitting here. You know my fiance. You've known me for a while now. And I was in a relationship that wasn't the right relationship for me for a really long time. My ex and I, she's a great lady. This has nothing to do with her. Nothing but kudos for her. She's a great mom, good lady. But we just didn't align, and not fine. It wasn't like massive love and then it fell apart. It just was never there. But we built a friendship, and we built a way to coexist because of my childhood and my parents being married 9 times. All I kept saying is, I can't do this to my kids. I can't do this to my kids. And I'd find a way to work hard and be super dad. Like that's what, as Tony said to me, he's like, you're letting that be the only thing that fills your love bucket. And I remember, and I guarantee if you're listening right now, I was a broke kid. You guys know my story. I lived in a trailer park. I lived in a bathroom. And all of a sudden, I'm a guy who's sold millions of books, multiple New York Times bestseller, been on TV for 20 years, generate hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, live in the best house in town. Like, everything seemed great. I have this amazing team that I love. I have incredible friends. We have mutual friends. So I had all this great stuff. And the only thing that wasn't good in my life that I was kind of like avoiding, and I was a hypocrite, was love. I didn't have real love.
Wow.
And I didn't have real connection.
For how long?
And 10 years.
Wow.
And I hid that part. And
you didn't talk about it. You kind
no,
of just
like if you
washed
ever
over
watch
it.
any of my own stuff, I've been on video for 20 years. I talk about everything. I never talked about a relationship. I never even talked about being married.
Really?
I never talked about anything but my kids. I didn't talk about love because I felt like a fake.
Yeah.
In Italian, I felt like a fugazi. Like, I'm not going to talk about that when I don't have that figured out. And I'll be honest, I was unfaithful in my old relationship because my heart was so aching for affection, for attention. And one day, Is it okay I go down this story?
Yeah,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
tell you. One day, like I thought about leaving this relationship for 5 years every day of my life. And I'd look at my kids and go, I can't. And I say that because, and some people might say, that's smart, that's bad, that's good. I'm just telling you like it is. You can judge me any way you want. I'm an engaged dad. I made breakfast every single day. I pick my kids up from school. I have Sunday meetings. Like the thought of not, like every other, like we split the kids right down the middle, but I'm like, the thought of having my kids half the time just wasn't acceptable to me until it was no longer an option. And one day I just realized it was like that moment that this is it had to end.
Wow.
So I did it.
What was the moment?
Just enough.
Couldn't take it anymore.
Like it's like that. It's just the build.
10
The pressure
years,
cooker. The pressure cooker just popped.
Wow.
And my ex, she knew it was time too. It wasn't like I'm shocking you. She's like, I know.
You talked about it probably. You addressed it. Yeah.
So I've only shared this a few times in my entire life, but I said a reference before because this is the way I felt. I felt like there was this champagne bottle, like taking up space. Like I never really let love in. I've been loved before, but I never was like deep
received love.
Yeah, I received. And I think it's because like this champagne bottle where I tucked in being molested at 7 years old. Where I tucked in a bleeding ulcer at 12 that I never told anybody that my dad had real bad issues. He was super dad and crazy dad. And when he was crazy dad, it drove me. So I tucked that in, and I tucked feeling inferior, and I tucked feeling insecure, and I tucked in a bad relationship. And I move into my own place, and I walk up the stairs. Now you understand, the kids are always around. It's loud. You haven't had kids yet, but someday I hope you're blessed with it. It's amazing. But I'm in this house. I rent this big house, and I'm walking, and it's quiet, like you could hear a pin drop. And I walked up the stairs, and I saw my daughter's shoes, but she wasn't there. And I can get emotional right now because I felt like at that moment that the top on the champagne bottle came off, and all of it came out. Like it exploded. And for the first time in my life, I had an anxiety, I had a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. And it lasted for 6 months. I was a mess, Lewis, for 6 months. And I didn't want my ex back. I knew that was over. I was a mess of thinking I'm gonna do everything to my kids that I didn't want done to me. And I just went in this really bad place. Like I thought I was broken for life. I really did. I thought I thought I had this great run till 47 or whatever age I was, but this is it. Like I'm never going to be the same. I was popping Xanax 2 or 3 days a week. I'm just being honest. Like I'd love to say, no, I was meditating. I was journaling. I was working out. I was jogging. I jumped on a plane, spent 3 days with my buddy, Tony Robbins. He helped me through like amazing, immersed his life with me. I went and saw my buddy, Dr. Daniel Amen, spent 2 days with Dr. Amen. I hired 2 therapists that I was talking to every day. I was doing everything right. And I really couldn't get it together, man.
This was a few years ago, right?
Yeah, it's a few years ago. So, I mean, just think of all the success I had, all the love I've had, all the people. Like, I have so many great people, and I can't see anything except what I'm doing wrong with these kids. And I have this aching feeling of missing them. And here's the way I want to describe it to everybody: it's like this is the analogy I had in my head. It was like I was in a ship in the bay, and I had a really good ship, actually one of the biggest ships in the bay, and everything seemed perfect from the outside world. And there was no waves. It's like I felt like I should have been content with that. I had all this other stuff. You want love too, but I knew that the only way, just from life experiences, that I could get to the next level, because that's how I did it in business. Every 3-4 years of my life, I reinvent myself. What I realized is that my next level of life lived on the other side of this horrific storm. And many times prior, I'd stick the tip of the boat in the storm. It'd get rocky, and I'd go back to my bay. This time, there was no turning back, and I was in the storm. And I did all the things, and it's given me another level of empathy because, I mean, I didn't know how crippling anxiety could be. I didn't know how crippling, like, not having a compelling future can be. And here's the thing why I think my books are selling more. My company's going to another level, and I'll talk about having the love of my life at this age. It's because I went through hell and back. Like, worst experience ever. Nothing compared. Not anything from a childhood, not being abused, not being sexually abused, nothing compared to this feeling of I was doing this to my kids. But while I was in this storm, and this is what I want to tell everybody, like, I didn't see the other side of the storm. I was just in it. And sometimes I wished I could go back. Not back to the relationship, just back to where it was calm. I just want my life back. And then it was like one day, literally like one day, I was on the other side of the storm.
And it was calm.
It was calm, and my life was completely different. I navigated new territory. I had transparency on a whole nother level. I met the love of my life. Like because the champagne bottle emptied. Like it's all gone. Like I have zero, I'm not holding anything back. I have no more secrets. I'm completely congruent. I could leave my phone open. I'm not texting anybody. I'm not flirting with anybody. I don't have to hide that I don't have a good relationship. It was complete honesty. I told my ex everything. I met Lisa and my heart was open. And now I'm at a place like, I can't even explain it. I'm in the greatest love of my life on every level, and not infatuation. It's all of it. And that never would have happened if I didn't steer my ship into the storm.
Wow.
And I know in hindsight, some of you listening right now are going through a really tough time, and I'm sending you love. Like I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Because all I know is if I went to my deathbed, and my kids even knew it, and I thought we were hiding it well. My kids tell me now, like, we knew you and mom never held hands. You slept in separate beds. Like, we knew it was coming. They were young, 9 years old, 7 years old. They knew it. And if I went to my deathbed and said, wow, I never found love because I was afraid of fighting with my ex. I never knew love because I thought my kids wouldn't love me. I never knew. So I just stayed with it. Like, that would be the biggest regret ever. Like, you'd want to, if you were 95, like, oh my God, I want to do this over. And now that I found this next level of love, like, I'm a better father. Listen, my ex is she's a friend. We get along fine. She knows everything. She knows when I'm marrying Lisa. She knew I was going to ask Lisa to marry me before Lisa knew. I told her I was getting. I said I bought the ring. She's like, wow. I heard it's bigger than mine. Like I never would have been this transparent. Like there's no part of me that doesn't fit anymore. Wow. I don't have to hide anything, and I never would have found that. And that goes for business. It goes for your income. It goes for your job. It goes for your parenting. Like maybe today's the day. If you're listening right now, today's the day you go, screw it. I got to face this because it won't go away on its own. And man, I don't know about you, but I got to 50 really fast, and 90's like 5 seconds from now. And I'm not screwing around anymore. Like if it doesn't fit, it's time to go.
Wow, man. Powerful story. Every year, it reminds me, every year at the end of the year, I write down a list of the things I'm most afraid of still that I haven't conquered.
Good for you.
And then I say, okay, what's the thing I'm the most scared of? I'm going to do that until I'm not afraid anymore.
Wow.
And it might be like, public singing. It might be something else. It might be like, I still haven't had that conversation with my dad or my sister or whoever that I need to have that conversation, clearing something in a relationship or apologizing or whatever it may be. But I think that's, for me, I always feel better going through the storm and going through the pain. It's the worst pain when it's surrounded to your fears, but it feels so much better afterwards. You feel free.
I mean, I have to tell you, even seeing you, I've known you for a few years. Even so, and I don't know your past circumstances in a detail level. We're not best friends, but every time we see each other, we've had a connection since day one, man. I really love you. I appreciate what you do. Man. I listen to all your stuff. But I have to tell you, without knowing so much of your past, the person I know today, the guy I spent the weekend with, is a new man. Yeah,
feels good, man.
You're a new man.
I went through some storms too.
I know you did. I know you did. And it doesn't mean that I'm not placing any blame. I don't even know the circumstance. But the Lewis I knew 2 years ago, even the Lewis that interviewed people amazing 2 years ago, you are a completely different person today. And I'd bet to say you faced some storms and you're more congruent. Yeah. You're just living honestly.
Way more aligned. Yeah. It feels good, man.
It's really good to see.
It feels really good. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You got it.
This has been powerful. I want to ask a couple more questions because we started with money, but then your story became so fascinating that I wanted to dive into it. And I think there's a lot of great lessons there. But you wrote a book a couple years ago or a year and a half ago called Millionaire Success Habits that has sold over 600,000 copies.
Well, I think we just passed 600,000
600,000 copies. It's been a huge bestseller all over the world, selling thousands a day probably right now. And you have a number of habits that millionaires apply to their life to make more money, to become millionaires. And you probably know more millionaires than anyone I know. You've connected with them over the years in real estate and the car industry and self-help industry and every industry there is. You know all these millionaires. So you've researched and studied and interviewed them on their habits. You have these habits. I'm curious, over you're 50 now. You've learned so many different lessons. You had the success in business for a long time. Now you're more congruent in your life with love. You've got the whole package. And you've seen a lot of millionaires who might have the right habits to be millionaires, but they don't have the love as well.
Yeah.
What would you say are 3 secrets that millionaires who have it all have? What have they
good question.
What have they figured out to become a millionaire, to have the love, to have the family, to have it all?
Yeah.
And to impact everything, doing the things they love. What are the secrets? You've got all these habits, but what's the real secret that's different than the actionable habits? Maybe it's a belief, maybe it's a way of thinking, maybe it's
good question.
The self-education side of things. What is that?
So I would say, because I would bet to say there's not one person listening that would take a salary of $5 million a year, but it was impossible to have love, or take a salary for $5 million a year, but you couldn't see your husband or see your wife, right? Or be unhappy. Money without fulfillment is useless. It's probably the biggest lie the world is told, right? And I know you read Millionaire Success Habits.
Yeah, it's great.
It's Millionaire Success Habits, but it's really life success habits, right?
Sure.
It's like when people start going like, oh, I could make more money this way, but this is really, I can fix my
I'll
life,
feel
my
better.
relationship,
Yeah.
I'll feel better, right? So I think it's a really great question. I wasn't prepared for it, but I know for a fact some of them. One of them is people whatever you focus on, whatever gets your attention gets results. If you're listening right now and you're in great shape, it means your body is getting attention. You're eating the right food. You're working out. If your company's doing amazing, you have focus, attention, and hunger. That's a great one too. Is you have hunger for that business. You have hunger to be in great shape. If you have a romantic, passionate love and relationship for 15 years, it gets your focus. It gets your attention. You don't ignore it. So the one thing that I've seen is, if you think of all the habits someone can have, is someone who's successful in every way, or in a lot of ways, not just wealthy, but overweight and unhealthy. Overweight and unhealthy, is they really know what's important, and they say no to all the things that complicate that. So I don't want to go down this too far, but I make myself a not to do list all the time, Lewis, and I obsess on knowing what I really want. Most times people that are living with suffering or stress or worry, most of their life is focused on what they don't want. I don't want this employee to be annoying anymore. I don't want this to happen. I don't want this president anymore. I don't. And they don't have enough of knowing in crystal clear clarity where it is they want to go. So you asked me one thing in common. The most successful people I know, if you got them in an elevator and say, hey, man, what's the next year of your life look like? Bam, bam. You know this from all your interviews. Oh, we're doing this. We're starting this new company. We're doing this. You ask somebody who's struggling or not happy, they'll tell you what they don't want. Even if you ask them, and anybody listening, you could do this. Ask somebody who's not doing well what they want out of life, and they'll tell you what they don't want. They'll go, you know what? I don't want this damn job anymore, even though you asked them what they want. So I think
that's someone who's not doing well in life.
Not doing well. So I really believe that
I don't want to be broke.
I don't want to be
in this
broke.
relationship.
I don't want to be in this shit ass relationship. Yeah. She doesn't give me hope, or he doesn't listen to me. Right? I don't want to be in this job where everybody takes him. It's like, but what do you really want? Man, I just don't want to worry about money anymore. It's like, wow. Yeah. But ask somebody who's successful in a lot of areas of your life, like, oh man, I want to get my new company off the ground. I want to get in better shape. Like, they know where it is they want to go. So I would say,
then they can figure out, okay, what are the steps to getting there?
Right.
How do I do that?
Right.
Now?
So
yeah.
I guess a longer answer to a short question, because you asked for 3, is if you really know where you want, you point your ship in that direction. And successful people start saying no to all the things that don't serve them going in that direction. That if it doesn't serve God, it doesn't serve a better version of you. It doesn't serve more income, a better relationship.
Health, yeah.
It doesn't serve your health. Successful people know how to say, I'm not doing it. Or someone talks in their life, you're gone. Like,
they're not eating the sugar, they're not drinking, they're not doing those things. Yeah.
And literally, when you do that in all areas of life, where do I want to go with my health? Okay, anything that doesn't serve that, I'm not doing it. Where do I want to go with my income? Okay, I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to point my ship in that direction. If it doesn't match, I'm throwing it away. Where do I want with my intimacy and my passion? Like, figure out, read the books, gain the capabilities. Yeah. So that's one. Number two is, this is going to be the simplest one. But it's going to be so simple. Listeners are going to go, oh, this guy's a freaking genius.
Secrets, yeah.
Is focus on the things that work in your life and be the observer of the things that work. You come home in your relationship and you say something and your wife or your husband lights up. Like, acknowledge that and do more of it. Like, this is going to be the simplest answer you've ever heard. And then on the opposite side, acknowledge what doesn't work in your life and do less of it or change it. And as simple as that sounds, I learned that through marketing. I love to market because I know if I can get my book in people's hands, if I get my courses in people's hands, they come to my workshops, they come to my master classes, they come to my masterminds, I can change their life. I can't change their life if I don't get them in. So marketing isn't one of those things I have to do. It's a must because I get to change your life the moment you give me a credit card. Give me a credit card to buy my book. You read it, your life is altered. So with that feeling, like, I went in so many different directions. I lost my train of thought there. Go back.
Focus on what you want and observe.
Yeah.
So observe what you don't want.
Right. So I learned that. That's what. Thank you for reminding me that. Is I was going to go down a marketing trail, but what I got so good at marketing, there's so many different. Like, what's the color website? Do you use an arrow? What's the opt-in? What's the close? How did you anchor? What's the hook? What's like? All I know with marketing is I love being transparent and enthusiastic. But the last thing is, I've obsessed on what works in my marketing, and I get feedback. I've read probably 100,000 comments, because tens of thousands of comments, because I read and I hear what people's fears are. I hear what they like about my stuff. I hear what they don't. And when I see a bunch of people telling me what they like, here's the brilliant Dean Graziosi. I do more of it.
Yeah.
And when they tell me this didn't work, it was complicated, I was a little confused, the brilliance comes out again. I do less of it. And I realize successful people do that in all areas of your life. If having 3 drinks at night makes me not get up in the morning to go to the gym, and the gym makes me feel good, I'll have FOMO of not going to the gym. I'm going to do less of that 3-hour drinking rather than quitting the gym so I can get there, because that makes so I'm doing less of what hurts me, more of what works. That's the same process of thinking. Living life the hard way is easy, and living life the easy way is hard.
Interesting.
Right? So, I mean, when you're hungry, just grab a McDonald's. It tastes good. It's easy. It's quick. Right? That's easy.
Cheap, yeah.
But you could end up with diabetes, dying young, not looking good, not being healthy, not getting the love you want because you look like shit. Just let's be honest.
Yeah.
Going and eating the right food, eating organic, going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning is hard. But I look at my dad. My dad's been eating healthy and working out his entire life. My dad's 84. My dad's 84. I'm not kidding you. My dad looks like he's 55 years old.
Wow.
No exaggeration. No, I'm not saying like no hunch, no, like the man, he runs on the I mean, the guy is an anomaly. But my dad lived the hard way. He said no to all the greasy food. He got up every single day and has gone to the gym for the last 30 years. Like, so just think about that. It's like, focus on what works and do more of it. I know if I treat my fiance a certain way, she looks at me with love at the highest level. I acknowledge what is her love language, and I see if I do something for her, if I'm there for her, if I'm always looking at her, my eyes are on her, even if I'm across the room, she lights up. So man, I want more of that.
You do more of it.
So I do more of it.
Yeah.
I see if a girl walks by and I look at her, it doesn't go so well. So I do less of that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So as simple as that sounds, think about in your life, are you compounding what works and eliminating what doesn't?
Okay, I love it. Yeah. That's point number 2.
And the third one's real easy. It's self-education. I never stopped learning. When I was in my 20s,
This is huge,
I cut Tony Robbins a check. He gave me wisdom, capabilities, confidence, and my life went to another level, at every level.
Yeah.
I get involved in masterminds. After Tony introduced me to all these people through his Power Talks, every month a new Power Talk came in the mail on a CD.
Yeah.
Man, I'd learn about Wayne Dyer, obsess on Wayne Dyer, get his courses, get his trainings, anything I could do. And I realized that every single, including you, every single successful person I know is a part of groups, a part of masterminds, a part of self-education, learning from other people. I mean, look at this weekend. Look at how we all solved our problems this weekend in moments. You bring up, like, how should I do this? Like this. Somebody's been there. And it's the collective wisdom of the room, or it's someone who's already been there. And I would say in today's world, just be careful because, and not knocking anybody, but influencer's got a weird name now. Influencer could be somebody who's run a $400 million a year company and now wants to share. An influencer could also be someone who shows a lot of fancy cars and got 2 million followers, and both consider an influencer.
Yeah.
Just model people who are doing what you want to do at the highest level possible.
Right.
If your Aunt Edna watched tennis her whole life, but you want to be a tennis pro, you're not going to go to Aunt Edna just because she watched. You want to go to an ex-pro.
Pro.
Right? So I think, self-education, it's one of the things I'm doing with my buddy Tony Robbins. It's our passion right now to make self-education the new norm, because literally the other day we're having a conversation and I said, without self-education, we're both laughing our asses off that we'd both be just totally screwed if we didn't find this path, right? And it's funny talking to him because he's the one that got me started on the path, right? And I said, we probably would have met if I didn't find self-education, but it would have been if you were in upstate New York and you went through a McDonald's drive-thru and I would have asked you if you wanted to supersize those fries, right? And we just laughed hard. But we've been really passionate, and we're working on a project together to help people extract the knowledge in their head. Like, let's just be honest, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but the current education system's broken.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they won't fix it, but it's broken. It's antiquated. Technology's moving too fast. Colleges have gone up 8 times while jobs and salaries have stayed flat.
Yeah. Well, they're also teaching us the things that aren't serving
They're not relevant.
our lives forever.
Yeah.
They're teaching us subjects. They're not teaching us a belief system.
Right, a belief system, habits, successful traits, right? It's just the world has changed so much, and it needs to be updated. But until then, self-education should be the norm. I mean, you think about this, my staff, the majority of my staff right now are young as heck. But I'm not hiring people. Half of my staff haven't gone to college. I have a 19-year-old kid running my social media ad spend. He spends a couple $100,000 a week every week. He's 19. I have a 22-year-old doing everything on YouTube. We're killing it on YouTube. I have all these young kids, and how I hired them, because I'm in this phase of my life, is I didn't care where they went to school or if they went to school, and I didn't care if they ever worked before. All I wanted to know is, was self-education a part of their life? Did they read the same books, do the same courses as I did? Were they A players, and were they teachable? And if that was, I'd hire them. I just hire a consultant to come in, train them for a day, 2 days, a week, and then let them go. Wow. I think I have the best staff on the planet, and most of those kids would have been misfits in corporate America. So Tony and I want to share, like, the answer to that is in everybody's list. Like right now, if you're listening, the answer to fix this problem is in your head, because the world has got so niche that, there's people having workshops on how to cut a fade, how to cut a fade in a hair, and a barber, instead of just making money cutting hair, he's making a fortune every month teaching other people how to do it, right? Everybody has an expertise, and what Tony and I want to do is help the world unlock it, learn how to share it, and get paid for it. Here's a crazy stat that an industry that didn't even exist not that long ago. The self-education business is a $355 million a day industry. And I just read an article where it's expected to double in the next 2 years. The world is realizing that I can go to school and then learn from somebody, or I went to school 20 years ago and it's not serving me. I'm not even in that field. You go to school, learn from somebody, get 30 years of experience, then hopefully get a promotion, or you can leapfrog and learn from somebody who already has the experience if they can just extract it and share it. Like I look at what we've learned, like a skill, an expertise, a hobby, whatever it is. If it's like a hard drive that builds up value, if you wouldn't throw that hard drive away after 20 years or 10 years or 5 years of accumulating knowledge, you like throw away a multi-million-dollar hard drive. I think people should feel that way about their thoughts, their skills, their expertise. Like, if you have a knowledge, if it took you a year or 2 or 3 to figure something out, you should be obligated to extract it. But here's the cool part. There's a process to extract it. Yeah. Share it with people and get paid. It's a $355 million industry. When Tony and I started, Tony started way before me, but I'm over 20 years in this. It wasn't that cool, but it is now. That's why people listen to your podcast. They want new capabilities. Most people's best thinking got them where they are. Yeah. I don't know if that was confusing.
No, that's great. It's the reason why I started the School of Greatness, because I felt like when I got started in business, when I was on my sister's couch, I didn't know the answers, but I knew that school didn't teach me the answers, and I needed to go seek them out. So I started seeking out mentors who had the answers. And Amazing. I was kind of masterminding on my own, one-on-one with people when I was 23, 24 years old on my sister's couch. Then I remember they helped me get into business. Like these ideas from these mentors, they coached me, and I had the coachability and the desire. So I was hungry for it. They coached me to getting into business and launching it. I remember everything shifted when I joined my first mastermind. It was 2009, and 10 years ago. And I remember my business did about $500,000 in sales for 12 months, this 12 months before this. Yep. Then I went to the first mastermind. The next month, I made $250,000 from the mastermind from connecting with a few
Same
people, from the
experience here.
insights, from the knowledge I gained. I was like, wow, I can save so much time and money by doing this one thing. And I've been a part of Masterminds for the last 10 years. We just came back from one that
Game changer.
is going to help our businesses and everything for the next 3, 4, or 5 years to come from what we learned in 2 days. And so what are you and Tony Robbins doing then with this project? And how are you helping people? How can we get involved?
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're an expert, you have a skill, you have knowledge, you're in this business. Like, as you're hearing this, like, imagine learning from Tony. And I don't think there's two people more capable. He's in 42 years. I'm in 21. We got 63 years of knowledge in this business. But if you're listening and you're already in this business, you're like, hey, I want to learn from these guys. And what we're teaching people to do in a blueprint is how to extract your knowledge and teach it in a way that's congruent. Whether you want to teach it online or in person through like a workshop or an online Zoom call or a mastermind, or if you want to build a community. I mean, in today's world, building a community and bringing like-minded people together creates massive revenue. That's where this $355 million a day is. So if you're already in this space, you're going to want to, and we created a link if you guys want. It's greatnesslink.com. Tony and I are doing, and Tony hasn't done something like this in over 15 years. We're doing a special online training. And everybody listening right now, you can register. Go to greatnesslink.com and register. Get the time. Show up 15 minutes early because there's going to be a live chat.
So you and Tony are going to be teaching something.
Yes, me and Tony.
What are you teaching on this training?
Real and raw. We're going to teach people how to extract their knowledge. But this is why I want everybody to listen right now. How to extract their knowledge and share it. Make an impact on the world. Everybody wants to make an impact, including you and I and everybody listening. Imagine making an impact and get paid. But who I really want to listen right now, this is real. I mean, people are in the business already know, but this is for anybody right now if you're listening and want to make additional revenue. If you'd love to make an impact on the world, you need to come hang out with Tony and I, because what most people don't realize is that this is an industry. If you're an expert, you should extract your knowledge, learn how to share it, and learn how to profit. But here's the thing. It's for everyone who wants to make more money and make an impact, because if you look at, we're going to teach you how to be the reporter of knowledge. Think about this. Tony wrote one of the most successful finance books in the history of the world. Money Master the Game. Big monster read. Book went crazy. Tony's not a finance guy.
Yeah, he was a reporter. He curated the information.
He curated the information. He was the reporter of the information. And he was able to share it and make a massive profit. I was on stage at my event and I said, hey, if I never did a real estate deal in my life, who in this room would pay me to come to a virtual workshop and showing you how to do real estate? Thousands of people, not one person raised their hand. I said, okay, but what if I went and interviewed the top 10 real estate investors in America, and I found their 7 common denominators for success? What if I was doing a Zoom workshop on that? Who would pay me $1,000 to come on it? The whole entire audience raised their hand. This is where our world is going. Technology has changed. The world has changed. People are ready to pay for community, for collaboration. So whether you're the expert or not, you have the opportunity to profit and make an impact and help change the world. Fix education and do what Tony and I want, make self-education the new norm.
Amazing. So if they go to greatnesslink.com, they can learn more about this.
Yeah, they can learn more about that. You can register, put your email in your phone, email and your name. That's it. And we'll send you a reminder right before we go live.
Amazing.
That's
Amazing.
it.
It's about an hour long, or how long?
I think we'll be about. Tony doesn't
maybe
go
a little
short.
longer.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's gonna be powerful.
Have you ever listened to Tony and want him to stop talking?
Never.
No, seriously. You go to Date with Destiny and you're like, all of a sudden you look down, it's 2 a.m. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right? So we'll probably go a couple hours, but if you're looking to make additional money and make an impact in your life, I don't think there's anybody else that lights you up like that.
I love it.
Greatnesslink.com.
Go there right now, greatnesslink.com. This is powerful, man. This has been amazing. I'm glad you opened up about everything.
Good. And I know we were kind of all over the place, but I think it went really well. And
this has been amazing.
Yeah.
It's going to inspire a lot of people. I want to ask you a couple final questions quickly. I asked you this last time, but I'm curious if it's changed now that you've gone through different storms in your life and out on the other side. So this is called the Three Truce.
Okay.
And if you're 150, 200 years old and it's your last day, you've somehow transcended age and time, and you've extended your life as long as you want to be, but you've got to finalize your life at some point.
Okay.
You've accomplished everything you could imagine. You've seen your kids accomplish everything that they want to accomplish. You've got the love of your life. You've got the business, the impact. Everything you've ever wanted to do, it happens. And you've got no regrets. But it's the last day. Everyone's around you. It's a celebration. And you can decide when you turn off the lights.
Okay.
And you get to leave behind 3 things you know to be true about everything you've learned in your life. There's no more access to your Success Habit books and all the
Yeah.
other books you've created. There's no more access to your content. You've got to take it with you.
Yeah.
But you get to leave behind a piece of paper where you write down 3 things you know to be true about life.
Okay.
Anything. What would you say are your 3 truths?
Well, I remember you asking me this question, and I know for a fact that some might be the same, but I know it's different because the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, but replace envy, anger, all those emotions with compassion. I think some people think that I let people take advantage of me because I'm too soft and too easy. And I believe now in my life that things have gone so well because I found a way to replace all emotions with compassion, and compassion and love win.
Mm-hmm.
There's no greater feeling.
Yeah.
And you feel connected, and like all we ever want is connection. I would say fight for what you want as if you were dying, because we are. We're all dying a little bit every day, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just like Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul says, use death as your friend. You know it's coming. It's okay. But it's coming, and it's going to come faster. You're going to be that 100, 150 years old in 2 minutes from now. So fight for what you want. Decide today and just freaking do it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. You know, that I think it was Bill Gates, or Tony says all the time, I think it was Bill Gates who said we all overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5. It's still going to be 5 years from now in 5 years. So in 5 years, you could either say, I didn't fight for it, or damn it, I went for it. And you were at least like Theodore Roosevelt's quote, you were the man in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't the guy in the sidelines wearing someone else's jersey. Right? You wore your own name on the back of your jersey. Yeah. You weren't just in the sidelines critiquing and yelling because the guy missed the ball.
Right.
You were getting bloody and marred in the arena. So fight for what you want. And the last thing I'd say is, and I probably said this last time because it's so important to me, is your thoughts lie to you. Observe them and question your thoughts, because your thoughts will tell you should stay in a relationship. Your thoughts will tell you that you were meant for mediocrity. Your thoughts will tell you that life's good enough. Your inner villain, that I like to call it, or your self-doubt, will lie to you nonstop. Prove that it's a lie. Find a better story. Find a better solution.
I love all 3 of these, but I don't think I've heard the third one shared before on 700-something interviews. So I think that's powerful, because when we have the wrong thoughts, we get stuck in a place that we don't want to be in. But when we constantly question our thoughts and question our beliefs to say, how can we focus on our attention and our hunger to get different results and focus on what we want and what we don't want, it all leads back to everything you've been talking about. Yeah. I love this, man. Well, I want to acknowledge you, Dean, because we met a couple years ago, and you've been an incredible friend. Like, you've sent me incredible messages at the right times. You've had incredible compassion for me. You've just given and given without asking for anything in return. And this is something you do.
You've been the same to me. I just want you to know.
I appreciate it. You've been, one of my superpowers is observing people. I think I mentioned this to you. When you're like picked on your whole life and you have no friends, you just observe people. Yeah. And I observe the way you treat people. This last weekend, you treat people with such care and giving nature, and you just want to give as much information to help people succeed. I see you do that with Trent, with Rachel, with everyone there, of just wanting to give your information, give your knowledge, your time, your energy to see other people succeed. So I acknowledge you, man, because it means a lot to me that you show up for everyone, but also for me. It means a lot. And I know that what you guys are doing, you and Tony are doing, is going to help a lot of people. Yeah. So I'm glad you're continuing to serve at such a high level for so many people. So make sure you guys get the registration. It's greatnesslink.com. Sign up. It's free. You can get access to this. See what Dean and Tony are saying. Final question is, what's your definition of greatness?
Definition of greatness. Discovering who you really are and what you really want, and just fighting for it.
Dean Graziosi. Thanks, brother.
You, man.
Appreciate
You're
it.
Awesome.